So we talk about a lot of Apple prototypes on this channel, but something we haven't talked about is how are these prototypes used and how are they tested? Now, to be able to properly test a device, you really have to use it in a daily use scenario, but that presents a problem. How do you keep people from figuring out what it is? It's especially an issue with devices like these. This is a prototype first-gen iPod Touch. Pretty obviously shows off the design of the device. It's pretty obviously something abnormal. It has this massive sticker on it. Prior to the first Touch coming out, you would not know it's an iPod, but it's not normal. The Apple logo is hidden, but how is that supposed to help when it has this massive sticker on the front and an engineer's using it? This is going to attract attention to the public. Same thing with the iPhone 4. This is obviously an iPhone. It says iPhone on it. It has an Apple logo. It has XX gigabyte. I mean, sure, you wouldn't have known that it's an iPhone 4, Gizmodo, but it's an iPhone. If you're using this in public, you can be like, wow, that's not an iPhone. It's something different. It's an iPhone. It's got slide to unlock. It's got iOS. It's got all the iPhone things. You can't be like, no, sir. Let me just walk away and leave my phone. It's not an iPhone. I swear it's not an iPhone. So how do you hide it then? Well, Apple has a pretty ingenious solution. It's changed a bit in recent years, but back in the day, you had stealth cases. There's a couple different versions of them. These two are for the first-gen iPod. Now this one is a little less secretive, as it has a required FCC non-disclosure statement that's rather obvious, but this other one does not. So you could fairly easily take your first generation prototype iPod and get it inside of this very janky, horrible silicone case. And once you finally get it inside there, I could only but feel bad for these engineers, somewhat horribly in there. It really, nothing. It just looks like yet another pocket device that, does whatever it does. Doesn't really look like an iPod, doesn't look like a lot of anything. It's just some MP3 player tech device you have in your hands. As for the 4, they got a little more intuitive with it. Rather than having some crappy silicone cover, they have a full case. Now, again, not super great, as it does have this very obvious configuration sticker and FCC non-authorization sticker, but if you're using it in your hand, who's really going to notice? This was designed in such a way that the iPhone 4 could be inserted into it. You then sort of lock it into place. There's actually little points all around for screws to hold the case together, and it looks somewhat like a 3GS. Close glance, it's obviously something different, but in the day they even had little button covers to hide up the holes with all the switches so that it would look like a 3G. And it did a pretty damn good job. There were likely hundreds, if not thousands, of these phones being carried by engineers in testing. And the only way that the design of the 4 got revealed was due to the fact someone lost one in a bar. If that never happened, it would have never been known. It's the way that Apple prevents leaks from phones today. Modern day phones have their own versions of a stealth case, and they do it much in the same way as they did before today. It obscures the design of the phone in a capacity where it's really hard to tell what the design is. However, there are a few drawbacks to using these, chiefly being you're not actually holding the phone. This presented a huge issue, ironically, with the 4 being antenna gate. Due to the fact engineers were not actually holding the devices, they had these big cases, no one used the phone in what Apple called a customer grip out in public. So they never ran into the antenna issue from holding the phone like this during testing. Outside of that, it really poses no huge issue and is a really effective way of obscuring the identity of devices to make sure that you can test out in public without leaking your new design. I hope you found this glimpse into how Apple keeps secret interesting. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment below for more.